What's up, college football addicts? Are you ready to dive into the seismic shifts shaking the very foundations of college football? Well, today I am going to peel back the layers of the dramatic unraveling of the two titans, the Power Four conferences in the NCAA itself. It's an unraveling that's changing the game as we know it right before our very eyes. But this isn't just about the fall, it's about what rises from the ashes. How will these monumental changes reshape the landscape of college football? How will they impact the teams that you live and breathe for? If your heart beats for college football, you won't want to miss a second of today's deep dive. Stay tuned as we explore the future of the sport in a post-Power 4 and NCAA world. Let's get right to it. First, let's talk about the collapse of the Power 4. Now, recently, news has surfaced that a new 14-team college football playoff model is being considered. It'll feature automatic spots for major conferences. In this proposal, the Big 10 and the SEC would each get 3 automatic qualifiers, while the ACC and the Big 12 would get 2 each. The Group of Five's top team would also secure an automatic spot alongside 3 at-large spots for the highest-ranked teams outside of those automatic qualifiers. This proposed 3-3-2-2-1 format is in the very early stages of discussion, and it's one of several options being considered right now. The new format would potentially start in 2026. That would align with a new television contract for the college football playoff. Now, the current 12-team field format set for 2024 and 2025 involves automatic qualifiers for the 5 highest-ranked conference champions and then 7 at-large spots. The proposed model aims to balance the initial request from the Big 10 and the SEC when they asked for 4 automatic berths each, which would only have left 1 at-large spot in a 14-team playoff. A final decision on this format has not been made yet, but there is a sense of urgency due to upcoming television contract negotiations. So why will this be the end of the Power 4? Well, this 3-3-2-2-1 model reflects a trend towards unequal treatment among the college athletic conferences, highlighting the dominance of the Big 10 and the SEC. And it's not just seats at the table. Revenue is also very much involved here, with the SEC and the Big 10 expecting to make somewhere between 25 to 30% under this proposal, while the ACC and the Big 12 are expecting between 15 and 20% each. When you add this on top of the already staggering differences of what conferences are going to be paying out over the next decade, it is very clear that the SEC and the Big 10 are going to be able to pay their players far more than the ACC and the Big 12 are, which means all of the top-tier talent is going to go to those schools naturally. Essentially, the Group of Five will become farm teams for the ACC and the Big 12, and in turn, the ACC and the Big 12 will become farm teams for the SEC and the Big 10. So you may ask yourself, why would the Big 12 and the ACC agree to this? And the answer is they honestly don't have much of a choice. Once Clemson and Florida State have moved conferences, the Big 10 and the SEC will have over 95% of the national title winners over the last 35 years. The brands from these conferences will have the largest fan bases who are willing to travel and pay more into NIL, and these brands also spend a lot more on football. So naturally, you are going to see NFL talent gravitate towards these colleges. Now, I know a lot of college football fans are not happy about these changes, especially fans of teams that are expected to be left out. I've heard from a lot of you guys down in the comments, and I think you have a lot of valid points, and you're making a lot of valid points. However, I think that this train has already left the station. Ultimately, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Group of Five need to figure out ways to make their football operations profitable and valuable without being dependent on the Power 2. And this is going to take some thinking outside of the box, much more than I could do on College Football Addiction, this YouTube channel. It'll take guys making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to figure out this mess that they're in. Next, let's talk about the collapse of the NCAA. Imagine for just a moment, what if the guardians of college football's sacred rulers suddenly found themselves powerless? What if the fabric of athlete compensation, woven tightly for decades, began to unravel at the seams? This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now as the states of Tennessee and Virginia have thrown a wrench into the NCAA's machinery, securing a federal injunction that has sent shockwaves through the world of Division I athletics. This legal maneuver challenges the NCAA's long-standing rules as violations of antitrust laws, which questions the very essence of amateurism in college sports. NCAA President Charlie Baker, in a somber letter to member schools, acknowledged the directive from the Board of Directors, the Division I Board of Directors, to halt the probing into the murky waters of third-party name, image, and likeness deals. This injunction isn't just a temporary shield for athletes to profit from their fame. It's a loud question mark hanging over the future of recruitment and compensation. As we peel back the layers of this unfolding drama, we find the NCAA at a crossroads, its enforcement capabilities dulled by the sharp edge of legal scrutiny and shifting public sentiment. The narrative is clear. The NCAA is facing defeat after defeat in the courtroom, leaving the gates wide open for NIL deals with the rule book seemingly tossed aside. And amidst all of this chaos, what is the NCAA's strategy? It appears that they're holding out for a Hail Mary from Congress, hoping for them to intervene and salvage their sinking ships. But with the political climate as it is, Congress seems no more willing to wade into these turbulent waters than to touch a live wire. The Power Four conferences, particularly the SEC and the Big 10, are not waiting around to see how this shipwreck unfolds. They're already charting their own course, considering governance models that could exist entirely outside of the NCAA's purview. They understand that the long-term vitality of college football requires a stable framework. But it's becoming increasingly clear that this structure must be built up from the conference level rather than from the top down by the NCAA. What does this mean for the future of college athletics? Are we witnessing the end of an era or just the beginning of a new chapter in the storied history of college sports? It'll be fascinating to continue to cover. It'll be fascinating to continue to watch. Make sure you're subscribed to College Football Addiction. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments on all of this. I appreciate you guys tuning in today, again, to College Football Addiction.